I'm Lou.
Leon Kennedy. You are?
And I'm Jed.
I'm Steve Harrington.
Welcome to the Two Pump Boyz podcast.
Welcome. 2 pumps is all it takes.
Pump is all it takes, and we've been two pumping ever since.
Still 2 pumping to this day. It's the 2 Pump Boyz. Our Halloween edition.
Halloween. It's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
Well, close enough. The 30th.
Yeah.
But we don't post on Tuesdays.
Absolutely not. We're busy on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And we're busy on Halloween.
Yes.
I'm taking this off.
Yeah.
To reveal my true self.
Wow!
Leon Kennedy.
With
Steve.
Yeah, we got dressed up for Halloween. This isn't going to be every time we record a video.
It could
because,
be.
no.
You don't know me,
No.
Mom.
Well, you can do it every week. But sometimes I'm just not going to have any eyebrows on.
Yeah, that's true.
You won't know what I'm thinking.
So, this is our very first episode that we're also going to be posting to our YouTube. Hence why those people that are listening on Spotify, they're going to be like, why do you sound like you're underwater? And then all of a sudden you're not. We had a mask on.
We had a mask on.
Surprise. So if you go over to our YouTube, you'll see probably, hopefully by Wednesday, the full video is up. So you can see us as ridiculous as we are.
We're going to post some TikTok stuff as well onto my TikTok because I've already got at least like a follower base.
Yeah. Well, and also that's just like where we have started putting the 2 Pump Boyz since we started the 2 Pump Boyz.
Since we made the goofy album cover.
DVD has taken us places. I tell
really
you
has.
what.
We'll never forget.
And one of the cool things I guess that we're really trying to do is make sure everybody knows with our podcast and with our video is we don't edit. So this is what you see is what you get.
Press record, we don't stop.
Absolutely not.
For anything.
For nothing. For nobody.
That's why you get the like random like ADHD where like, hey, there's someone in the parking lot. The cat's meowing, kid sneeze. Like it's
you hear it because it's real.
Yeah, we don't edit.
Real life true story. It's true.
We're too lazy, we're not competent enough, and we don't want to.
Well, that's true. I'm grabbing my phone while we are talking about this because
the one time we video and you're like, I have to go.
This is the first time I've actually ever gotten up during a podcast, but of course we're on video, so of course we're gonna end up having to like open things and make notes and stuff.
Yeah,
that's how it works, and you guys are in for the ride with us.
But this week it all started with one single movie which just came out,
we had to see it.
Yeah, we went on Friday, so we will say that there are spoiler alert for Five Nights at Freddy's
FNAF.
Now, if you've played the first game, you're gonna have a pretty good idea what goes on in this movie, so you can listen kind of at your own discretion.
Yeah, it's true.
But if you've never played FNAF, you don't know anything about it,
or don't care,
but are interested in maybe seeing the horror movie, the movie, you should maybe skip this first little bit here. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll let you know when we're done. But we went and saw Five Nights at Freddy's.
We did. I think I went into this with zero expectation, and the reason being is because as soon as you go online, literally instantly, as soon as the movie is out, IGN and places like that, they post their reviews. Yeah, exactly. They post their reviews and they're like, this movie got like -5 out of 100.
Our professional reviewers at IGN.
Listen,
who have
IGN
never
is
played
like,
Five Nights at Freddy's?
No, I don't think they've played video games. I think they
Sometimes
just...
I wonder. I think they're just a bunch, because I've been looking at like freelance writing, journalism.
Yes.
I think that they're just random people who probably like did a little googly goog, came up with it, and just like shit it out.
I think the AI did it. They just put it into like an AI generator. ChatGPT. Yo, that shit's legit though.
That's what's gonna write our podcast.
We are ChatGPT.
We are ChatGPT.
GPT. We are AI. We are not real. So yeah, I went on. That was my first mistake. I went and I logged on to Facebook. Actually, that was my first mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
on to
having a Facebook account that you started in 2007 was your first mistake. Okay, we gotta go way back. We gotta way back to Honesty Box and the like. Jed Kazicki is eating. Whoa!
Oh no, my favorite was like Laura McKenzie. Oh, that's weird. Lou McKenzie is feeling pretty down.
Nothing else.
Where are you? I'm so sorry.
Like, that was it.
Man.
Anyway, we can't go on a Facebook tangent.
So, yeah, go on Facebook and I see IGN and they posted this movie as like a 4.5 out of 10. And they said like disappointing, blah, blah, blah. So of course I'm like, okay, what were they expecting though? So I stopped reading and I was like, I will come back to this.
Yes.
And
what are the
see,
expectations?
Once we're done, what exactly the comments said and like what people were commenting on. And now it's like a day after it was out when we went and saw it.
Yeah, we went and saw it. You could go Thursday night for like the
Premiere,
like sneak a peek.
Yeah,
The
sneak a peek.
But we went Friday night because I wasn't really sure, and Friday night seemed better.
Yeah, and I mean,
It was great.
Friday night. We went in with literally the only expectation was that we were going to get our characters.
Yes.
We knew that our favorite Matthew Lillard was going to be in it. Did not know what capacity.
No, we didn't. We had our suspicions about who he might be, but then we weren't sure when the movie actually started.
And then it actually took a twist, and I enjoyed the twist big time.
Yeah, it was good.
So, yeah, we're going to touch on a couple things here. So, went into it, obviously, we sat down, and immediately I was like enthralled.
Oh yeah, instantly, because they start. It's a very like visual movie, which Five Nights at Freddy's, like the first game, it's both visual and not. I don't know how to fucking explain this, but you only see this much. Like there's a couple screens. There's your little fan. You got a soda drink. You've got the like celebrate poster on the wall. That
gave us chills though. Did they pay attention to details of what the actual first game looked like?
Yes.
So we knew, okay, for those very quickly who don't know Five Nights at Freddy's, but they're like, hey, this is a big phenomenon and I'm not sure what's going on.
I'd like to get into it.
Basically, you are a security guard for what would be considered like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
You know, where they have the animatronics on stage, and they very briefly tell you that these animatronics were made to be able to be controlled without humans, so they could go and wander around and
robots with like a radius that they could go into and like things that they could do, but there were also wearable ones.
Yes, and they touch on that a little bit later as to why they're so terrifying as well. So of course, as anybody who's been to a Chuck E. Cheese when you were a kid or whatever, and they're just like terrifying. Like I find those animatronics demented.
As a kid, I love Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
And I remember the stage show. Yes, I remember the stage show. And as I got older, looking back at that, I was like, this is straight fucked up.
It's super demented. Yeah.
It's like,
it's bizarre.
And it's no wonder that someone made a game revolving around the fact that that's fucked up.
And like I said when we left the movie, I was like, somebody either loved Chuck E. Cheese as a child or that lives in their nightmares, and then they decided that they were like,
it's their
have
trauma.
to create this.
It is their childhood trauma.
Yeah. Maybe it was like, anyway, so the whole thing is you are a security guard. This place has been condemned and shut down
since the 80s
due to missing children. What a surprise.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I'm gonna go and take this job, and like they really went into depth on Mike, who is a security guard who you play. That's like who your character is. So you actually get to see him, and obviously you see him
stuff outside of Five Nights and like what his life is kind of like, which I also like because the game is it's a very small little world of
in a
bubble
box
that you're in.
Yeah. And then you go in, and the whole thing is you are supposed to just make sure nobody gets in, but also that nobody gets out.
I think it's a little column A, a little column B, because you don't want anyone to get in because it's break and enter, and that's still property that is owned by the original owner.
Yep.
So duh. But you also don't want what's in there getting out because it does get out.
Yes.
And sure as shit, some stuff fucking goes down.
So the whole point is you are supposed to watch these security cameras, and anyone who's played the game, and I mean, this is the controversy part, because I was obviously, when it came out, younger than I am now, but I know a lot of people that allow their kids to play it now because it's not your typical like Silent Hill type of horror. No. It's very like edge of your seat. You have to be very cognizant of what you're doing and how long you spend on something, because the whole point is these guys are going to come get you.
Yeah.
These animatronics make their way to the security office.
It's all strategy. Like the newer game obviously is more like you get up and move around and go around Freddy's and whatever. I haven't played Security Breach. It is on my list.
It's on our list.
But like this, you're just in the office. You just see what's kind of around you. And it's also interesting because the lore is not made apparent. When I first played Five Nights at Freddy's,
it's very like,
I was like, oh, okay, the evil animatronics are gonna come and kill me. And this was a fine reason to me. Like, of course they're gonna come fucking kill me.
I mean, yeah.
Like, fucking Chuck E. Cheese is probably waiting outside my door right now with a baseball bat.
Chuck
like,
Cheese.
Chuck
E. Cheese. Chucky.
Did you know that
That's fucking weird.
He was originally, so I actually, remember when I sent you that fucking deep dive I went on for Chuck E. Cheese at like 3 a.m?
Oh, yeah.
He was a rat. He was a rat that basically just fucking roasted you. He would
Isn't
just
that
sit
ridiculous?
there, and it was for adults.
Yeah.
It was an adult place, and they served alcohol, you smoke in there, whatever. And this fucking giant rat who was in like a picture frame, but they like would lean out, would just fucking roast you in like a Boston accent.
I could do that for free. If you want. Yeah, I'll fucking roast you. For
Roll up
fucking
to my
$2.50.
window here, I'll lean out like a fucking drive-through, and I'll tell you you're a piece of shit. Like, fucking...
Hey, welcome to the 2 Pub Boys, you fucking fatty.
There's two. There's 2 fucking windows. We will
Hey.
double roast. But that's you should
Oh
look
my
up the origin of Chuck E. Cheese. But it's
You're just like your father. That's what I'll tell you.
oh my god.
You want to roast? You're just like your father. Everyone would just come through. I'll tell you that, and you leave.
Right, that's it. I'm gonna leave.
So that's interesting though, because I mean, like, the Chuck E. Cheese we know today, obviously that everybody knows, is for kids. Like,
It
that's
is,
what you
yeah.
think, right? Just shitty pizza,
Yeah.
and like, you know,
Rental
games and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
rental rooms for parties.
We should take
yeah.
it back. Let's take Chuck E. Cheese back for adults.
Yo, you can go to Chuck E. Cheese. No one is telling you as an adult that you can't go to Chuck E. Cheese. We could go to Chuck E. Cheese like tomorrow.
We should create like a Naruto running group of nerds that just takes over Chuck E. Cheese.
Do we have
all
to
just
Naruto
like
run in there?
fucking lootly. Is that even a question? Who are you?
I
We'll just-
don't. Here's the thing. I don't run.
Okay, we can Naruto walk. Let's go.
Let's go, because we're all old. It's icy outside here.
Oh yeah, gotta walk
I don't
slowly.
want to hurt my back because I got to play some mad skee ball.
I'm the Slam Jam champ.
Throw me in that ball pit. And I'll just like suck kids under, pull them into the depths like fucking anaconda.
Just you pop out. Holy shit!
Steal all their tickets
Whoa.
and then just like yeet them
As
out.
Ghostface. Just like you just see like this like coming out of the ball pit and it just like
And
takes
it
children down.
steals all your fucking
Holy
tickets
shit, I
so that
love
it
it.
can get like
Poor little Timmy's like, my tickets are gone. It was Ghostface. And then their parents are like,
the fuck are you on, kid?
So FNAF, very similar. No, so you know you're the security guard that has to ensure that basically in your little security office, which is where you spend most of the game, you are watching the monitors, and there's a generator that if you continuously stare at this screen, which you want to because
you
you want to
want
see
to.
like what's going
Yeah.
on, but you don't want
shouldn't.
to because then you run out of power, and then that's when they literally
they'll come and
get you.
wreck your shit.
and these creatures like with the movie they did a fabulous job.
Oh, visually, the
Stunning.
animatronics were exact.
Like
I
oh,
was
man.
I was blown away.
Foxy, terrifying.
Oh my god, I was.
You were like, Foxy.
Yeah, literally, I was like, oh my god, my boy,
Foxy.
my boy.
Well, we both were like, so the way that we always sit in the theaters, we always have Kit on my left, I'm in the middle, and Jed's on the right. Or I'm on the far right and Jed's in the
Yeah.
middle. But we always share popcorn.
We do, yeah.
And usually if Kit gets their treats, they get their own because they tend to
They
just
eat
like...
all of it.
It's gone. And that's okay. But
Yeah.
Jed and I don't always eat like a full thing of
No,
popcorn. So
but
we
we'll
always get
share.
like a medium and we share. So I'm there, and then Jed and I almost at the exact same time reach over to each other, and we're like, Foxy.
They showed fucking Pirates Cove, his little side stage, and I was like, my boy's in there. But then the whole time, I'm also sitting there being like, where's Springtrap?
Did the same.
Oh man,
100%.
and they had the drawings. There's so much to go into with this movie. If you're a FNAF fan, go see it.
Yeah. Seriously.
It streamlines the lore and makes it very apparent. I know a lot of people missed out on the lore.
Yeah.
Because it's not forthright. Exactly. But there's novelizations.
That blew my
If
mind.
you aren't great at playing them, I mean, Markiplier is like all the rage with the Five Nights at Freddy's. And
Yeah.
honestly, he was one of the first streamers that I watched.
Honestly, I agree with you because actually Jed mentioned this.
Yeah.
I think Markiplier is the reason why FNAF is right at the forefront right now.
Absolutely.
And that's how
Yeah.
influential gamers and Twitch streamers and things can be, is if like you're good and people are watching you and you start bringing back games that people are like had no idea about or maybe
Yeah.
weren't interested in, or younger generations are like, yo, that looks sick. And I mean, again, I think kids nowadays are raised in just a very terrifying environment that these
God.
things are not actually as scary as they would
No.
have been
No,
when they
not
were
at
first
all.
released.
When FNAF first came out, I don't know, it was in 20...
She's like, I was I think in my 20s.
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s.
My
I want to say
mid-20s.
like 23 is when I first played it.
I'd be about 25. That makes about sense. Yeah.
Around there. So I was pretty seasoned, like with video games and horror. Yeah, seasoned. But I wasn't working at 911 yet, so I wasn't completely immune to the horrors of life.
Yeah,
but
and it was different.
It was, and it scared the shit out of me. It was so stressful.
Well, I found myself
struggled.
like waiting because, of course,
my
your eyes are
gosh.
watching the screen, and again, like the generator. If you're staring at it, you waste your battery, and then all of a sudden
It's
the lights will
just-
go out, which they did in the movie.
Yes, resource management is the basis of at least the first few games.
Totally.
Now, like I said, I haven't played all of them. I played 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, yeah. We want to play.
We want to
Security
keep
Breach.
going, but it's hard to keep up with things sometimes. But the
little
movie, it captured everything. It captured the blackouts. It captured Foxy running down the hall at fucking Mach speed.
Oh, I just got
that
goosebumps on my
motherfucker
ghost
going
face.
at like he's racing Maverick in that fucking jet. I tell
Even
you
Mach
what, like Maverick's
10.1.
like in the jet doing like Mach 10, and Foxy
Foxy's
is
just-
keeping up, man.
And
He's
also
going.
like that little song.
oh, the
when
song.
you knew, and there was like it was an ode to the fan base.
Yes.
But Kid had never played or really knew anything about Five Nights at
They
Freddy's.
knew the visuals and they knew a couple things because it's so
It's
so
all over the
popular.
place, right?
So crazy.
But they had no idea like what even it was about. So the fact that we had them beside us too, and we were like, okay, before we discuss anything as like fans of the game, we turned to Kit and we were like, what did you think? Because that's our way that also helps us judge. If they were like, I was so lost, like I didn't understand this or that, then we're like,
Because
okay,
we
it's
can
meant for
just fans, which I don't think any video game adaptation should be just marketed towards fans. It should always try and bring in new fans as well.
Absolutely. And I think it did.
Yeah.
It also brought me in because I, as a fan of the carpet, that 80s carpet
I want
was...
that down here.
Immediately we saw it and Kit goes, that would look really good in like Jed's house. And I was like, the
My
retro
basement,
room.
this room right here. Oh, that and Matthew Lillard. We knew we were going to see it in theaters, and Matthew Lillard sold us on it.
Yeah.
We also have to talk about that. Holy shit. There's a lot. Okay, the movie.
Whoa. Movie was great.
It was great.
I really liked it.
8. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, I said an 8 rib crushing, torso holding, body piercing clamps.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
I give it 8 like guilty ghost kid dreams out of 10.
That sounds horrible. But if you watch the movie, you'll understand what that
it.
means.
They did it was exactly what it needed to be, but it got us on the topic of wait, we have to talk about Matthew Lillard first.
Yeah. Before we
because
jump
this
in.
is totally because we need to touch on Scream. Really quick.
Yeah.
There's a part where spoilers.
So obviously, this is a big spoiler. So if you've liked what you've wanted, but you don't want to know like one of the things,
The whole thing. But if
leave
you
now.
already know, you know.
Leave for like a minute.
Yeah.
We'll be very quick. So Matthew Lillard ends up coming out as Springtrap, which was
Afton.
very cool.
It was
We were
really, really
blown
cool.
away.
He was deranged. It
Yeah,
was perfect.
so deranged. And he did this thing after stabbing his daughter. He takes the knife and cleans it like Ghostface.
Like Ghostface.
And we both were like,
You don't see that
ever.
That's
and by
that's
Matthew
a very,
Lillard,
very Ghostface thing. And Matthew Lillard, as we know, is one of the very first Ghostface. But there was another part in it.
he says, I always come back. And I went, fucking
it's-
Scream 7, let's go.
Yeah, it is true for Springtrap.
Yes.
And it is true for the lore and everything that's surrounding Afton. But also, we were like, are you flexing that, like, you could be Ghostface again?
Matthew Lillard, we see you,
We're
bro.
a little curious. Like, these
Yeah.
are just very specific things. And when we saw them, it wasn't like thinking about it later.
No.
Instantly, we
It
were
was-
like, Ghostface.
Kit caught onto it.
Yeah.
All three of us at the same time were like, oh my god.
If it was
that is
anyone
such
else-
a very particular
Yeah.
type of, you usually see them, they go on the side, on their
side,
leg, or they
yeah.
just kind of like shake it.
Or they don't
But
clean it at all.
to physically grab it
And clean it.
like as if he had done this, how many times? 3 times? He
Yeah.
killed 3 times?
Yeah.
So, like he's done this before and he knows because he
knows.
has heard all of our cries and like he goes to, conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
And he knows.
It just was so, like, instantly.
We were like,
Ghostface.
we see you.
So if you go see this movie and if you see these two things
Yeah.
or other things that maybe we didn't see, let us know because
Totally.
I'm like, Matthew, Matthew.
We see you, dude. We see you.
So, yeah. So ends our talk about the FNAF movie. You can come on back.
Welcome back. But on the topic.
Yeah. Movies that are horror movies, but aren't necessarily...
They're the not scary
movies.
movies. So things we might have watched as kids
Yeah.
that we watch now and maybe we're like...
It's kind of hokey.
It's hokey, but it was meant for horror, but it was
To
also rated
scare
like 15
children,
plus.
or even PG for some of them.
Or some of them PG, yeah. Like The People Under the Stairs was not rated R.
No.
And that was one I remember from when I was a kid.
Yes. It was a mild... It was a scary movie. That wasn't a horror movie.
But that was the one that all three of us, we were like, we've all seen it, weirdly
sticks
enough.
with us,
And
yeah.
as we were kids, not like young adults,
No,
not like
we were
in
children.
We were children. I was like
Yeah.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I had watched it so many times. I loved that
It
movie.
was always... I felt like it was always on TV, and so my dad always had it on.
It must have been like the Super Channel or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those movies that you can just kind of run, and it pulls kind of a variety audience, I think.
Totally. But like that one kid has his tongue cut out.
It's graphic.
It's super graphic, but yet I'm like, I think I had a crush on that kid, which is
Yeah.
like so weird. Like you're a kid, but that's a movie that was meant to be a horror movie.
Yes.
But kind of centered towards kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to remember. Just going back to FNAF, that it is kind of like that. So if you're going in expecting like a bunch of swear words, if you're expecting, you know, your typical gore
You're
where it's
expecting
just
Texas Chainsaw or The Conjuring or
Don't go see it.
Scream or...
That's not what it is.
It's not. No, it is a lore-heavy, scary movie.
Yeah.
The lore is very disturbing. Some of the scenes are a little bit graphic, but there was nothing like...
shadow graphic.
Yeah, it was...
It's from up here. I think that's the
Yeah.
whole point is like...
The thought of it and the premise of it and the background of it and how it taps into our childhoods, Chuck E. Cheese, is kind of what makes it scary. Did I get scared watching it? No. But does it have jarring scenes or scary scenes? Absolutely. I mean,
totally
it's
does.
fucked up. That is a fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, and I think that's why IGN shit on it, because they were expecting some like hardcore fucking like...
That's why. So I go
don't
back
know.
and that's exactly it. So like we'll kind of keep going on our obviously like our movies that were supposed to be scary but weren't scary but are scary type thing.
Yeah.
But that was the thing with IGN. That's exactly what they were looking for. Could have been scarier, should have had more whatever scenes, and it was like
Visually perfect. Lore
perfect. Acting
awesome.
brilliant. Like it was so good.
And like the way that they were able to take like a very secular game and make it a full movie and like tie it all together. I think they did a bang up job.
I totally agree. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So IGN.
IGN can suck my dick.
If ever you want to see a movie, just go see it.
It's a fun romp.
Just
Yeah. Don't listen
go
to
see
reviews.
it.
And if you like it, fucking awesome.
Great. That's good. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks. To be honest, that's the whole point of why we like movies so much. Is they're so controversial and different. And
Everybody likes something different. Like,
Totally.
yeah, you can sit down at a I don't even know of a movie that like literally everyone likes. I was
Lord
gonna
of the
say,
Rings.
Like, Lord of the Rings. You can sit down and be like, Lord of the Rings is a movie that a vast majority of people like.
but there are still people that don't like Lord of the Rings,
And that's
which
okay.
I don't like those people. But I'm just kidding. I don't care.
But like,
you have your
that's
own
the
opinion.
point. Like,
That's fine.
Objectively,
But
Lord of the Rings is one of the best movies
of all time.
ever made.
Yeah.
And you can still not like it.
Fellowship of the King that you called it.
Fellowship of the King.
Chet goes, you know what
Yeah.
one I still need? I still need the third one, Fellowship of the King. And I went, ooh,
That's
is
not
that a
quite-
porn?
that's-
Like, just...
You know, if it is,
I mean, hey, hook us up.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm not just saying.
Strider could ride me bareback.
You're gonna bring this back to Baldur's Gate. You got bear sex on
I
my
didn't. That was Piper. I did not have sex with a bear.
Guilty by association.
I did.
You didn't turn away. You didn't turn away. Listen. So, movies that, you know, when I was a kid, that I really, really enjoyed, but also had a super spooky aspect to it because
Yeah.
it was supposed to be scary. And I mean, like, there's a lot of things about it that were scary. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is scary.
It's scary.
It is.
I know, because you watch the TV show. So back when we were kids, there was the cartoon TV show, which was
good.
very fun. Like,
Yeah.
it was whimsical, you know, and
Yeah,
like
very
Beetlejuice
whimsical.
is very like, I'm your friend, let's go. He
Yeah,
doesn't
it
like,
was goofy and
you know?
like it. Yeah,
Lydia was awesome, so
Yeah.
cool and fun.
But The movie.
was Tim Burton. So it was dark AF
And yet a kid's movie. But like it's pretty messed up.
it is.
The
totally.
fact that this old nasty fucking dude wants to marry Lydia.
Yeah.
The way that her parents
Oh my gosh.
with the long just like
So,
the long faces, the
people,
shrunken head.
Yeah, the people that move in, obviously,
that's it,
because
yeah.
they end up, the original owners end up getting
That's
into a
right,
car
that's right,
accident.
yes.
I have seen this movie probably 63 times.
Yeah.
I still have it on VHS, and the box is ratty as shit. How many times this little cookie fingers were like, yeah, watch me.
Yeah. Beetlejuice time.
Beetlejuice. So much so that in charades, when I was trying to be the Fonz, I was trying to be Beetlejuice, I went, "Ay," and then I went, "I'm Beetlejuice." So, I don't know. So anyway, like the original owners of this really beautiful house, they get into a car accident on the bridge. Anyway, they wake up, they're in their home, they realize people are trying to move in. They're like, what's happening? They realize they're fucking dead.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
book
right.
that says like the recently deceased, the handbook for the recently deceased. I'm sure if you go to Hot Topic, it's a bag.
It's a
You can
bag.
see
It is a bag. Yeah, it's pretty cute.
I know, I really want it. Yeah. So, and then they obviously go to the other side, and that's terrifying. You have this place where it's like reception heaven, but it's hell.
It's hell.
And there's this guy, and this sticks to my head. This is what I'm saying. The movies that are like for kids, but were actually scary, but not scary.
Yeah.
This guy got obviously run over. And he's the guy who goes to like get papers and then drop them at people's desks.
Oh my God.
And he's hanging, he's hanging and he's got like tire treads and he's about this thin.
That's right.
And he drops people's like papers on their desk and then goes into the wall. And that sound lives rent free in my head.
Like that's dark.
It's so dark.
And they were like, "This is for children."
For kids. And so yeah, they obviously go in and then their agent, I guess, she reminds me of Aunt Petunia.
Yeah,
He's sitting there
yeah.
like, why are you
Mike
trying to be
Wazowski.
friends with
Yeah.
the fucking living? You're dead. You need to scare them away.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're nice people. And she's like, be scarier. And then like the football team that got
That's
killed comes in and they're like,
right.
hey, coach. She's like, I'm not your coach. You
Yeah.
know? Fuck, that shit's terrifying. That whole scene is so scary. And I'm like 9 being like, yeah.
Yeah.
And, then all of a sudden they needed the long face and
Yes.
the eyeballs at the back of the
freaks.
throat.
It's
And
freaky. That's
he's
freaky
got eyeballs on his
shit.
fingers.
Yeah.
also
which reminds
practical
me-
effects.
Yes.
Still just...
The eyeballs on his fingers reminds me of Labyrinth, which is also a children's movie and terrifying. Let's be real.
that whole like fawn thing. And then the
I
dinner
don't.
and then...
I
whoa,
don't
yeah.
like. I've seen Labyrinth once, and that was enough.
I think I only saw it once too, but it's so memorable that I don't
It
have
is.
to watch it
I don't
again.
need to
I
go
close
back
my
to that
eyes and I can
place.
see it.
Yeah.
So Beetlejuice, obviously they go back to the house. They're going to scare these new people away. And then they meet Lydia, who is all of us right now.
Yeah.
I drew him like, alone and like she's just
No
so...
one understands me.
She's writing in her, book like, if you read this, I've already gone. Like that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And her whole room is like black.
Emo goth.
Yeah, and then
kinda
her
deal.
mom, who is Catherine O'Hara, is
Oh my
like,
God, that's
Lydia! Like she's just awesome.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is obviously she finds out, like Catherine O'Hara, her mom, Lydia Dietz, finds out that Lydia obviously has these ghost friends. And so they have these friends from New York that
God,
come
that's
in and they're gonna
right.
show the house as like this paranormal activity.
Which is bananas.
So, they figure out a way, figures out a way to conjure them back. So, this is when the movie takes the biggest, darkest turn. Beetlejuice is great. I think, I can't wait for the second one because I think Michael Keaton is the best Beetlejuice.
Well, and Winona
Ever.
Ryder. Back.
It's her birthday today.
Is it?
Yeah, it's either yesterday or today, but yeah,
Well,
it's her birthday.
shit. Happy birthday, Winona Ryder.
And so like she says, no, like don't, they're just whatever ghosts and like leave them alone. And also actually does conjure them. But they quickly turn from being where they were when they died, which is a nice, happy, like 26, 28-year-old couple. And they just start deteriorating so rapidly. Their jaws fall off. Like,
Is that
oh
where my fear
God.
of aging came from?
Probably. I think for all of us. They turned to dust so fast
I feel
that I
like
was like, And then they did the whole like, well, there was the whole, I think I missed over a whole part. That's like the end of the movie. But
Yeah,
they did
that's
that
okay.
whole like song.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Dale.
That's
and then
right.
the fucking shrimp come out
Oh
and pull
my
their
God.
faces into the, and
It's
they're all
fucked
laughing
up.
about
This
it.
is all fucked up.
So that's a kid's movie. That came out in like the 90s and it was terrifying, but it was awesome.
It was on the same beat as like the Addams Family.
Totally.
Same beat, absolutely. Where they're like, this is for kids, this is for the family to watch, but it's really fucked up. Uncle Fester was obsessed with torture. Uncle Fester was a fucking masochist.
Do you know who Uncle Fester is?
Yes. I knew this. We talked about it.
Christopher Lloyd.
That's right.
Which
That's right.
is very cool because it actually leads into our
Yeah,
another
this was
movie.
weird.
And I've been wanting, okay, so Jed says that she has like this story in regards to this
children's
particular
movie.
movie, which
I had to look up the title because I didn't remember any part of it except one part. But apparently it is called Good Ghouls Gone Bad.
Yeah.
And it's by R.L. Stein.
which he's making a comeback right now too, which is
Yeah.
also kind of weird, but awesome.
I'm here for it. I'm
Totally.
like, you go, Mr. Stein.
go.
You traumatized me in more ways than one. So this movie, I remember it used to play on, I think it was the Disney Channel at Halloween time. And I'd be at my grandma's house and I slept in her old bedroom and she slept in my papa's bedroom because he passed away, but they didn't sleep together because grandma snored like a dump truck. So I had her bedroom and there was like a little like boob tube TV.
Yep.
With cable. And this movie was on. All I remembered in my head when I had to Google the name of this movie,
Yeah.
I'm just going to describe it.
It's okay. If you're watching our YouTube, we'll plop this in so that you can see
Yeah,
it.
it's very jarring. And I'll share the picture because I actually found it and saved it to my phone, which is recording us. I remember
Surprise.
there was a boy at a school, maybe, and he somehow gets locked in a pottery kiln. And he gets burned to death. No one realizes he's in the pottery kiln. But then he comes out to haunt the school either like right after it happened or like he'd been dead
my
a while and he came
God.
back. And he had, you know how make fun of Brahms with the tight little button?
Yes, I was just gonna say it was like.
And his hair is black and frizzy and his face is really gaunt
Yes.
because he's
Yes.
been like literally burned in the
You
kiln.
are blowing my mind right now.
So, and there's this part where one of the characters, somebody is in the pottery classroom and he walks by the door and he does it very slowly and there's a very specific kind of crunchy, slurpy noise. And you see a silhouette. Maybe he's actually there and you see him and he's quite grotesque
He's
and
gross.
ghoulish.
Yep.
And so I watched this movie. It was on Disney Channel every year.
Along with Hocus Pocus.
Back in the 90s. Yeah, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town. Like these things came up. So I remember that scene and I watched it and then I turned off the TV and I went to sleep. And I had a nightmare, or I thought I was having a nightmare. I kept thinking that this guy was walking by my bedroom door because I left it open a bit in case like I needed grandma because I was fairly young.
You have had more paranormal experiences than you think.
Dude, I think it's just my busted fucking brain.
Busted. Wasted.
Busted my fucking ADHD
Wasted.
brain. I've been having a lot of lucid dreams lately, but this was, so I kept thinking that I saw this guy walk by my bedroom door at my grandma's, and it scared the ever-loving shit out of me. And every year around this time, I think of this movie, and I never really look it up because all I can remember is the guy who was burned in the kiln, and that's really it.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
And I found it, so I found a picture, and like it's pretty hokey now, but I look at it and I'm like, it kind
Got
of
you.
scares me in
It
my
got
heart.
you.
I don't remember the plot of this whole movie, but apparently Christopher Lloyd's in it. News to me. I only remember this one part.
Okay, but weirdly enough, Christopher Lloyd is in more movies than even you remember. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
everybody's like, oh yeah, Back to the Future. Yeah, no shit.
Obviously.
But there's
he's
so
in
many
like
other movies.
So many other movies. Like
That we just don't like think of.
yeah, you don't, I mean, obviously you don't think of it because you're like, those are childhood traumas that you just like stuff in the back of your head. And it's
yeah.
that villain. That's the villain. That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so you remember the villain, but you don't remember the actor because of course you're a
Yeah.
kid.
You're a kid, you don't
that
care
villain
about that.
is real.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thing, right? So then you rewatch those movies and you're like, oh, fuck. you know?
It was weird looking at the Google images for this movie. And now I kind of want to see if it's streaming somewhere because I'm like, I have to understand why childhood Jed was so afraid of this entity.
There must have been something. We have to watch it.
Something freaked me out.
Got to rewatch it again.
And it has stuck with me. Every year I think of it. Every year.
Speaking of Christopher Lloyd, and something that sticks in my head since I was a kid, and yes, I have seen this movie since, and obviously probably everyone has, and of course as adults we're all like, oh.
Yeah.
But Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
It's a fucked up movie, man.
As a kid, Christopher Lloyd is the bad guy who wants to kill the Toons.
My God.
And he puts them in the dip and they scream. And yeah, that's Christopher Lloyd. And then at the end, when Roger is, and obviously like Jessica Rabbit are trying to kill this guy, they find out he's a Toon because they're running him over with a
he's
fucking...
so scary.
Oh, they have the big steamroller and it's rolling over his body and his eyes are like... And he's doing that like...
Yeah, that's fucking horrific.
Oh my God.
You know what's funny about this is I saw a post on Facebook. Once again, why are we on Facebook? We're millennials. We can't help it. And it was talking about, I can't remember.
Because we have to keep a connection with the boomers.
Right.
You know, because they're like our like parents
and shit. But then we have to also keep up with Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Which that's like Instagram and your TikTok. And so we're in this weird middle where we go on there to see our fucking memories from 15 years ago where we go, and I'm so sorry. You know,
I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
But
life is a nightmare.
So, like, oh yes, it was about the main actor. I can't remember his name, and that he actually. So he didn't know what Jessica Rabbit would look like. They just said picture the sexiest cartoon character you can, and apparently what he pictured was less sexy than Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
But he actually started to make himself hallucinate these characters so that he could act alongside literally nothing that was there. He was in front of a green screen.
Oh, that was the main guy.
The PI, I think he is.
Yeah.
And I was reading like he literally, was hallucinating after being on set and after the production. He was hallucinating seeing these cartoon characters because he had spent so much time having to visualize them and act alongside something that was not there.
Which, I mean, if you have ever watched any of the... I don't know what's worse, if you're hallucinating that something is there, or if you have to be Bella Swan petting Jacob as a wolf when he's not a wolf, and he's just just like this.
That's a good boy.
He's like
Jacob. Oh my God, it is so deranged. That shit's so fucking deranged.
Watching the back,
the
mocap shit is so fun.
I don't know what's worse. I think I'd rather hallucinate cartoon characters than ever go through that.
Yeah.
It's really fucking weird.
No wonder she looked like she was dissociating half the time.
I'd have to.
She was.
Her and Robert Pattinson. I'd have to dissociate through those 4 movies.
Skin of a killer, Bella. But yeah, so these are those movies that like I look back on and I've watched since, and still there's those key moments. So I'm interested about that ghoul one because
I know.
Is it still traumatizing like that?
Is it gonna trigger
Roger
me?
Rabbit?
Am I gonna have like a Full Metal breakdown?
Full Metal breakdown. Full Metal breakdown. Full Metal breakdown.
Yeah, so that always comes into my head.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a bad one.
Damn, that's rough.
Yeah. R.L. Stein has traumatized me from my childhood that carries over. Ventriloquist dummies and this fucking guy burned in the kiln. I don't know. And I was really big into pottery at the time, or getting into pottery. I was going to summer art camps, and we did a lot of pottery, and I was a little bit worried that he was probably going to come out of a kiln at me.
Listen, speaking of kiln, and also like these non-scary scary movies meant for kids, but also like still enjoyable as adults. That's the thing, right? Hocus Pocus. Obviously, they're working on a third one. They've done the second one. The second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
The first one, we all remember as kids because it was so iconic, you know? Am I keeping you?
Yes. We did a lot today, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
And I was up early and I was up late.
Fucking a bear.
No, I did not fuck the bear.
You were a witness. you were a witness. So, you know, Hocus Pocus, speaking of kiln, because they put them in the kiln.
That's right.
And then their smoke goes... I mean, like, this is shit that happened when we were kids. And also Billy Butcher,
Billy Butcher.
which Butcher Billy,
Yeah.
who does artwork.
The Steve artwork that's behind me. It's amazing. They
It's
did
so good.
he did art for every episode of Stranger Things season 4.
And he does a lot of artwork for like a lot
Lots
of
things.
Frankenhooker.
He's
right
got
now.
one
That
out
was
for
brilliant.
Frankenhooker. It's stunning, man. If I was made of money, I would buy everything that he's done. He is phenomenal.
such a talented artist. But in Hocus Pocus, Billy Butcher, he was the zombie that was supposed to be her first lover.
That's
and then she,
right.
whatever,
Which is
buried him.
dark.
Super dark. And sewed his mouth shut so that he wouldn't
Which is
speak.
dark.
And then he's like a zombie, which, by the way, like that's...
It's really, you know, it's
you know?
funny because last week, well, in our horror movie countdown, we talked about Night of the Living Dead.
We did.
So
Yeah.
you've got zombies that are in these horror movies that people do not let their children watch. But then we've got
Hocus Pocus, which kills
don't
the witches in
know.
a kiln. And also, in the very beginning of the movie, Sarah Jessica Parker, she lures children
that's right.
to be eaten.
Which is fucked up. I mean, yes, like if you look at grim fairy tales, I mean, really, stories for children are equally, if not possibly more fucked up than like some of the shit out there for adults.
Yeah, seriously.
But you throw in like a fucking titty and suddenly it's rated R. But you can literally, yeah, like it's bananas.
Just
I don't
throw
fucking
titty
get
in.
it.
No, I know. And it's interesting because I'm like, those are the movies that raised us.
Yeah.
And so it begs the question as to, is that why we're the way we are? I mean, if I could show you this room, I mean, if you just look behind us, you see, like, this is what we're into.
This is pretty chill behind me. Like the really jarring stuff is kind of everywhere else.
Actually, I think if you move slightly that way, your head, you'll see RC.
Oh yeah, RC's here. Yeah.
RC hangs out with us, and he in alone is terrifying.
He is pretty spooky little
he is.
guy.
Spooky little happy guy.
But yeah, and like one of the other movies with the zombie theme is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island,
Oh my
which
god.
was, I think, one of the first full
1988.
animated.
Yep. And it was really cool
movies.
because they were older.
They were.
So the characters were supposed to be older in this.
Yeah.
It was a really good plot,
They
actually.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how they all got lured there, but they didn't go together.
No, not fully, not in the beginning. And then, of course, they
Yeah.
like meet and stuff. But
It was pretty scary too.
it was. And they had a really good plot behind it, which I think is what made it scarier. Because, I mean, the typical Scooby-Doo is like, oh, there's a bad
There's
thing
a
happening.
masked person.
Let's
but
go
this turned out
figure
to
it
be a
out.
real thing. This
Yes.
turned out to be actual zombies.
Yeah.
Ghosts. We really gotta watch that again. I'm pretty sure I have it on VHS if it's not streaming. But I remember it being like a movie I quite enjoyed. And
Yeah, it was good.
I've watched it in my adult life and enjoyed it. I love Scooby Doo.
Listen, okay. Also, Matthew Lillard makes the best Scooby. Like, he is
Shaggy.
Or Shaggy.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd probably be a good Scooby too, but
Yeah.
he's a really, really good Shaggy. Like, he's my favorite Shaggy.
Yeah, he's voiced every Shaggy other than like the OG,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. And like, he wasn't Shaggy in this animated, but it was still
No,
like
this is before his time.
all of these movies, like Zombie Island, on Zombie Island, and then the live actions are just my
Yes.
favorite.
They're
Like,
so good.
I
And they
love that
are
shit.
low-key horror, well, scary movies. We're going to call them scary movies.
yes, scary movies,
But
not horror.
there was a lot of marketing towards kids for scary because you had Are You Afraid of the Dark? You had Goosebumps.
Okay,
You had
hold up.
Freaky Stories.
Are You Afraid of the Dark has one of the most terrifying openings
Oh, it's quite...
of any show.
It's kind of... When they have the matchup and then it blows out, like it's...
The swing,
Oh my god.
yeah, the like blowing leaves,
That's
everything is
right.
dark, black and white.
It's quite aesthetic.
The like camera going up into the attic, like all of that shit's so
Holy
spooky.
shit.
And
I
those
saw
stories
it
were
coming
legit.
back. Ooh, I got a shiver. Did you see that? Whoa! The ghosts of our childhood. Like, thinking about
Right
this.
here.
These, I think those things scare me more than any horror movie now because when we watched them, we were so young, impressionable.
Yeah.
And these things really stayed with us as adults. Like, man, looking out the window and seeing the complete economic collapse of the entire world around us is far more jarring than, like, fucking Insidious.
Why? Yeah, 100%.
Like-
Except for the sound in Insidious 1 and 2.
That's very jarring. Yeah.
When you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest jump scare of any movie ever. But you're right. Like, you know, when you think about being a kid, you think about those key moments that they made very scary and very like impressionable, and you're terrified.
Terrified.
You go back and watch those and you're like,
So when I was a nanny,
Yes.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
I was a nanny when I was in college, and I took care of 2 children. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still
Just let it
always-
percolate
yeah.
in your brain
Yeah,
for a
it
second.
always blows my mind when I hear that.
Yeah, it blows my mind now too. Anyway, I was a nanny for these kids, and we watched Bolt. I really liked Bolt. I think that's
With
a
the
really
dog?
cute movie with the white
the,
stunt dog.
Yeah. Oh.
And
I
Miley
love
Cyrus
Bolt. Yeah.
voices Penny,
Yeah.
which is his owner. Anyway, so there's the part at the end when Penny is trapped inside the burning stage, and Bolt goes in to save her, and it's a tense scene. And as a little kid, I can see being afraid. There's a lot of fire. It's scary.
Yeah. And
so,
anytime an animal is in any kind of like distress
man,
or
it gets us.
Yeah.
But not the youngest one. The youngest one, she was like not really paying attention. But the older one, she was probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
She watched that and she liked it. But the scene at the end with the fire scared her quite a lot. And her parents had like rented it and said like, you guys can watch Bolt today.
Well, why would you think it would be?
Sure. So she gets scared. So I'm like, it's okay. So I fast forward through all the fire and I'm like, look, like Penny and Bolt get out and Mittens was the cat's name.
Oh my God, you're
and
bringing
Rhino
shit
the
back.
hamster. Yeah. And so they get out and they're all happy. Cool. And she's a little bit upset. She's a little bit teary. So I'm like, why don't we take a walk to Dairy Queen with your little sister and we'll go get an ice cream cone.
Sweet.
And it was, it's spring semester at college. So it was pretty nice out. So we go to DQ and I don't know if DQs still do this, but a lot of the DQs, you could see the grill. It was kind of a showpiece.
That's right, because it was like
it
always
would be
grilled.
like the grill faced this way, and you
know
could
if you
see
can
kind of the
anymore.
fire. Yeah, it was a design back in.
Yeah.
I mean, this was probably a carryover from the 90s and hadn't been renovated. This was back when I was in college, so
Totally.
2009, 2010.
Sounds about right.
And so you could see the flames from the grill come up when the guys were charring the burgers, and she saw full breakdown. So terrified, inconsolable, crying, terrified of
That's
fire.
PTSD.
Because we had watched Bolt, and it had scared. And Bolt is not a scary movie, not marketed as one, not meant to be one. And this movie scared her so much that we couldn't stay in the DQ.
Millennials
to leave.
built different. No, but like something so simple.
Well, she's a little bit Gen Z.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's and like
Yeah.
my brother, he's considered a millennial, but he's like 94, and I'm 7 years older than him. Do the math. And so I was sitting there playing like Nintendo, and it's the same thing. Like you think of Zelda, you're not thinking horror.
No.
You're not playing Nintendo
But
64.
I know
as
enough about
horror.
fucking Zelda. I don't even like Zelda, and I know enough to know what part is frightening to him.
So they're like the re-deads, and if you walk by them, they jump on your back and they go. Whoa.
They make horrible. They're scary, and they're all like kind of brown and red and black.
Terrorized
Gross.
my brother.
Yeah, like these things were when you're a kid.
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
He watched. Okay. To give Spencer some credit, he watched me play like RE2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Release date RE2. I got that game for Christmas. I was so stoked.
Slam that bad boy in the N64.
Gosh. Played the shit out of that as Leon, and he watched all of it. No problem. And then as RE4 came out and he was actually old enough to play it, he
Yeah.
played the shit out of that game, and he was like, yeah, this is awesome.
It's just so weird. Like the things
What
that
gets you?
scare us as kids and stay with us for like our whole lives. So that's like scary movies for
Yeah.
kids. Are they scary or are they not?
You be the judge. No, I'm just kidding.
No, honestly, they
But
fucking
honestly,
are.
they are.
Like,
They're so terrifying.
and like we want to know if there's a movie, and maybe you don't remember it, but you remember a scene. If you do, let me know. I'm really good at finding things.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of weird shit out there that we might have watched that was scary at the time, and
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, like, our brains we both have ADHD. So as you see us live, I'm sure you see our eyes are like moving around because we're both like flipping through the codex
accessing,
and all of the movies and things we've watched. And I mean, these episodes could be hours long
yeah.
because we could keep going on all that shit.
And like we
right?
said, we don't really script. We have like the name of the movies that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just on the phone, but we just talk.
Yeah,
And so we're
just
accessing
Yeah,
the
it's
information live from our busted fucking brains.
live from Wasted.
Like it's
That's us.
a mess.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing is when we were kids, there were so many movies that we get to watch. There's so many impressionable moments. Like even just right now, I'm thinking about We're Back. It's the dinosaur movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
animated. And then all of a sudden they get caught by like that. And
Yeah.
they turn into real dinosaurs instead of the nice dinosaurs.
all dogs go to heaven.
Holy shit. What about Cockadoo.
Secret of Nim?
Jesus.
Ferngully?
Do you remember Rockadoo?
No.
Rockadoodle-doo?
Everybody
Rockadoo-doo?
talks about this movie. I think Pipes did
Yo,
too. I didn't see it.
You need to see this. The farm animals. He looks after them. Basically, this rooster is Elvis.
Of course.
You know, because
Yeah.
he wakes up
Yeah.
and instead of like
Oh, he can sing.
yeah, Rockadoo, and they
Yeah.
do their like ditty when they get up. A big flood, which is caused by other forces. Again, I haven't accessed this movie for like since I was like 6,
Yeah.
7, but it's right there because
Yeah.
it's trauma. And like the farm gets flooded. He has to like he loses his voice. He can't
Yep.
wake anybody. Oh my god, it's just like terrifying.
Watership Down. We've mentioned Watership Down before. The original and the newer one. Traumatizing. Rabbits fucking like ripping the throats out of other rabbits.
Dude, I'm like I got goosebumps.
And like, do you remember, it's a Wallace and Gromit.
I remember Wallace and Gromit.
Do you remember Shorn the Sheep?
Yes.
And that a close shave? And they're getting turned into dog food?
I also haven't thought about that for years. And like maybe that's why I became a vet tech, because I was like, save the sheep.
My god, like this shit is, and
Yo,
our
that's
parents just
terrifying.
sat us down in front of it and we're like, yeah, this is fun. I'm
I
like,
mean, it's fine.
is it? And I've actually noticed that
Yeah.
children's shows now are softer.
Very soft. But I will say softer, but then you also, I think they're also gearing some of them towards adults because they know,
little deranged.
like Bluey.
Bluey. Yeah.
Bluey slaps. I've only
Yeah.
seen obviously like what you see online, so I
Yeah.
sat down and watched an episode.
But they're
But-
far less jarring.
yeah,
They've dialed
Brave
it back.
Little
but,
Toaster, like
oh my, holy shit!
yeah,
I have that. It's back there.
I watched it not long ago, and it's like really jarring.
I've never felt such sympathy for a fucking toaster in all my life.
And the grumpy vacuum.
The vacuum, and there's that big thing. It's big and scary, and it's coming towards them. It's got, what is that thing? It's a truck or
God.
something. I don't know. It.
Oh man, I know. This will be the thing that when we're like, okay, bye, we'll be like, ah, that was it.
That was this thing. But yeah, it's like, just take a minute and access things that were scary to you
Home
as a
Alone.
child.
Being home alone. I was a very imaginative
It's a
child.
fucking Christmas movie. Christmas is terrifying for other reasons.
Yeah, I mean, but that furnace.
Oh my god, yeah. Yikes.
But it's just like a furnace turning on, you know? But it was like, that's scary. And just like the thought about being alone and having these burglars trying to get into your home. Like, good for that kid, you know? Good for him
Yeah,
for being so...
You go, Macaulay Culkin.
I would have been abducted. It would have been horrible.
It's just like, my brain is trying to find more, but I don't think I want to go
Listen.
there because I'm going to uncover some other weird kiln-created fucking corpse that's going to haunt my nightmares tonight. Man, I'm just going to get I'm going to get from fucking both sides by fucking slapping this guy from the kiln.
And then the sounds of...
Shit, man, like, fuck me.
And then your teeth will fall out. You're just like your father. Me over top of your bed.
And the male pattern baldness has to kick in. Suddenly I gotta fucking skull it. Fucking kidding me?
You're just like your father.
Do you see what I have to go through?
Oh,
My trauma
shit.
amuses her.
Oh, absolutely. My own trauma is just as terrifying. I just... We just have a drive-by window of harassing people like Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, stop by, ring the bell, we'll open the door, tell you go fuck yourself, and you
Yeah.
can carry on with your day.
All you need to do is send us an email with your trauma that you would like to be exploited, and then I will absolutely do that for you.
And $5 to our coffee.
Yes. Done. Sold.
Nothing is free in this world. We gotta make money so that we can afford food.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. In this economy, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing in this
economy.
fucking economy. Are you kidding me?
You can't do
My mom,
shit.
this morning, we went for dim sum. I don't know how much the bill was, but I'll assume probably...
I would say close to about $80.
$80. We'll say $80 for 4 people. And we ate good.
Yeah.
But she was saying
Well,
back in...
We
ate well. Shut the fuck up. Back in 1984...
I'm really trying to trigger your nightmares.
You
It's
are
me correcting
triggering
grandma.
me.
Grandma.
I know, Grandma.
Grammar.
Grammar. I don't...
I'm triggering grandma.
I don't speak well, but I write very well.
You're very eloquent with your writing, for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
not the words out of my mouth. Anyway, back in 1984, she said that 8 of them could go for dim sum, eat until they were gonna die for $40.
40
8 people.
dollars.
8
Can you
people.
imagine?
And they were all in the service
Imagine.
industry, like waiters, waitresses, whatever. So they're working long hours. They're hungry. They're young. My mom was 26 and 89 when she had me. So, she's like 23.
Yep.
With all these other like 23-year-old guys and other
Corporate,
girls.
like they go out and they're having some food and whatever, and it's like $40.
$40.
They all pitch in like $5 or whatever, Like, can you imagine? Jesus, I show up to a McDonald's, I'm like, here's a $5 bill, and there's like, here's a fucking hamburger with no cheese, and I'm like,
right? That's it.
there's a yogurt
And
tube.
then you
bro.
ask for a fucking cup to put water in, and they won't give it to you. You gotta buy a bottle of water for $4.
They're like, you want what?
It's wild.
Excuse
It's
me?
wild. Shit's wild.
Oh, this shit's wild. It's like Wild Wild West.
That's
out here.
scarier than anything we'll ever talk about on this damn podcast.
That's why we sit in this room and remind ourselves of what's
Of the good old days. Yeah, like honestly,
good?
millennials holding on to like the past. I hold on. I'm like, dear God, please take me back to lava lamps and Space Invaders, because right now fucking sucks.
We got a lava lamp beside us. You can't see it, but we can. This thing takes hell of a long time to warm up, and when it does,
gets going,
it's demented at first. It just looks like a really long wax dick.
Yeah.
Until eventually it decides it wants to blow
But
away.
it's going good now.
Yeah.
Lots of lava lamping in there.
Lava lamping. Get it. It's been a long day. So on the end note, I would say, firstly, go see Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah,
If you've
it's
never
fun.
played the game,
It's so fun.
It's okay. It's so good. It's brilliant. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you've got kids and they like the spooky stuff, they like a little bit of thriller.
Yeah.
Take
can
them.
go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
There's no swearing.
Use your discretion.
Yeah.
But we went to the adults only VIP because, despite being a nanny,
I don't mind my friends' kids. I don't want kids of my own.
because
I
it's
don't
me.
like. You're the baby.
I'm the baby. Hey, now that you guys can watch us on this video, you can see me sensually applying my chapstick at least twice per episode.
I have applied that multiple times because we're talking and I'm like,
I'm a lip licker.
I like to lick a lot of lips. I'm a lip licker.
We need to end this.
You fucking nasty
I'm at the end of it. I'm at the end.
So yeah, basically, go see FNAF.
Yeah.
We really want to know about your childhood traumas.
Yes.
And I'm talking like movies, things that maybe you stand out from like a movie that you've watched. If we didn't mention it, obviously we will definitely look into it and probably mention it. And keep commenting on our like Instagram and stuff. And this is going to be on YouTube, so please check us out over there. TikTok, we have just done a bunch of stuff for Halloween.
Wow.
It's why we're tired.
We did a big project today, and Kit is actually upstairs diligently editing it.
Yes, it is. It's quite the feat. It was about 3 hours worth of production value.
For one.
You're welcome.
Video. It's like it'll be like a 3-minute video, though.
It's about 3 minutes. Yeah, it's about 3 minutes. And it's fucking brilliant.
It's so fucking brilliant.
It's so ridiculous. But you know what? We're putting a lot of effort into showing you guys how ridiculous we are and just unedited versions of ourselves and showing you that real people exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real stupid fucking people exist.
And we thought coming on here as the Two Pump Boys,
a good start.
Would be a good
don't
start.
expect this every week. Sometimes you're going to get us in our sweats with like bedhead, cowlicks, doesn't
That's
matter.
very, very true.
You're going to get
That's
us on
very
our
true.
worst days, best days.
and we don't want to promise like empty promises, we want to over deliver and under promise. That's how that works, right? Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
Because if we over promise, we will always
always
under deliver. That's a guarantee from the Two Pump Boys. We will always under deliver if we over promise. So we're just gonna
Not delivery. It's Delisio.
I fucking hate you. I'm like, oh my Lanta.
Speaking of commercials, we're also going to do some reacts to some commercials from our childhoods.
Yes, that's one thing we wanted to put out there too.
Donk.
Send us any videos that you remember from being a kid. If we haven't already done it for reactions, then we
You
will
looking out
definitely
there?
do
Is there
it.
someone out in the hall? Fucking shadow people? What are you looking at over there? Were you trying to see past your bangs?
I was looking past I'm looking at the
What
camera.
am I looking at?
I don't know, but I'm like, I had to look. I had to open these bangs to look.
It's like
hello?
walk around Odafest being like,
Yeah, it's like, is there somebody here? Which aisle do I need to
come
go
on.
down?
Come on, man.
Oh, Leon, you can't see shit. So yeah, send us those. That's really cool. You can send them on Instagram. You can send them to 2pumpboyspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And also just TikTok, comment on videos, send us shit, send us links.
It'll be on my TikTok.
That
Jed
is
Soda Pop.
Jed Soda Pop. Yep.
But I'll put a thing in the bio so you guys know you're in the right place.
Yep. And yeah, that's kind of where we got our origin, obviously playing DBD, and then we hooked up to TikTok and started posting ridiculous things as the 2 Pump Boys. And here we are. This is the brainchild of that at 3 a.m. We've arrived.
You're fucking welcome.
This is all your fault.
Yeah, this is your fault.
Thanks for joining us this week. Thanks for watching our faces. And yeah, we can't wait to come back next week with another hot, fresh, steamy episode just for you guys. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Bye.
Goodbye.